Welcome, everybody. NHL playoffs are on full tilt, and so is Dana Lane. I'm talking once again with Dana, who was 5-1-2 last night in his playoff picks and has been on a roll in the NHL playoffs as a whole. Dana, first and foremost, thanks for being back with us. We've got 4 games on the slate tonight, so let's get right into it. Capitals are looking to go for the sweep against my hometown Philadelphia Flyers. The momentum is absolutely huge with the Capitals. They are believing in themselves, I think, more so than any other previous year in the playoffs. If you will, break this game down, and where does the edge lie?
Well, this series is certainly over. Obviously, a 6-1 victory at Philadelphia the other night sealed it for Philly, and not only physically, but certainly mentally. And one of the things you have to have with home ice advantage is your home crowd behind you. Certainly at the end of that game, it did not appear like the home fans were behind the Philadelphia Flyers, and that's a bad feeling and creates bad vibes going into Game 4. The Flyers tried to be as physical as possible. They tried to skate with them in the first couple games, but they tried the physicality route in Game 3, and I'm sorry, but you can't allow the Capitals 9 power plays and hope to come out victorious. There's a complete lack of discipline with the Flyers, and to me, this series probably ends tonight. But what we are going to do is, because we don't want to lay the $1.60, that's a little bit high, I think Washington is going to come out tonight red hot. You can get them at minus $1.45 in the first period, which is a lot better than $1.60. And then we're going to go with the under in this series, which I think Philadelphia is going to come out and try to be physical again. And I think Washington also is going to mirror that. So I think a real physical game tonight, but at the end, the better team's going to win, but we are going to take them at minus $1.45 in the first period, because that's a little bit more in our comfort zone than $1.60 for the game.
Yeah, and I'm, born and raised in Philadelphia, and you absolutely nailed it with the fans. I mean, we're the same fans that back in the 70s threw snowballs at Santa Claus at the Philadelphia Eagles game. So it doesn't surprise me that the Flyer fans turn on them on the third quarter or third period, or just up and exit the building as they have done in years past. Personally, I think the Flyers, when they went on that 15-5-3 run at the end of the season to get into the playoffs, I think it took a lot of gas out of their tank, Dana. And when you go up against a team that seems to be very, very focused and with a goaltender that is absolutely in a zone, I don't think there's nothing they can do to bounce back from that. And with that being said, how important do you think it is psychologically for the Capitals to really focus on getting this win, getting the sweep, and getting some extra days rest before taking on the next opponent?
Oh, that absolutely goes into it, Mike, and you're right about Braden Holtby. I mean, how can you go against a goaltender that stopped 72 of 74 shots? And it wasn't like the Flyers didn't have opportunities in the second game. Braden Holtby has we've talked about the Capitals. Could they turn the switch as the playoffs started? And they certainly have. Now, I don't think Philadelphia is a great barometer for how good your team is, but the fact of the matter is that they have been as good as advertised going into the playoffs, at least into the first round.
Yeah, and that extra couple days, it's absolutely priceless for teams, and they know that, especially the veteran players on those teams. Okay, with that being said, going into the second game, Florida Panthers going up against the Islanders. Islanders lead 2-1. They're on their home ice. Can they get it done at home tonight? And is possibly the Florida Panthers kind of losing some gas out of their tank as well?
Yeah, we'll have to see. After 3 games in 4 days, we'll have to see which team is a little bit less disciplined than this one. But, hey, look, you know what, Mike? This Panther team is deeper. They're more talented on paper. I expect them to go a long way into the playoffs. But it does appear that grit and determination is winning in these playoffs games. You could look in the battle of the corners, the Islanders almost always come out with the puck, and that is a real good indication of the team that wants it just a little bit more. And unfortunately, I thought Luongo would play a little bit better in these playoffs, and he certainly has not. I thought he'd play with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder and want to get back to the Stanley Cup with a fantastic team, kind of get the ghost of Stanley Cup past off his back, but has not played very well. The Islanders' top line has played exceptionally well, probably better than they have all year long. So if you have Tavares and Nielsen and Okposo playing well, that's very difficult to overcome. One of the things I didn't like about the Islanders was I just didn't think they had enough team speed, and I still don't. But unfortunately, it looks like Florida's not going to be able to take advantage of that. So what we're going to do tonight, we're going to play Florida in the first period because I expect there's a little bit more of a sense of urgency from the team that needs the game a little more. So we'll take Florida in the first period, but until I can see a complete effort over 3 periods, I'm going to back off of them on the game. So we're going to go Florida first period and the Islanders in the game at minus $1.01.
Interesting. I like what you said about grit and determination, because when it comes down to 2 teams playing 3 games in 4 days, and let's not mistake, hockey is probably the toughest sport, the most exhausting sport out of all of them. I played it since a child, and I know this to be true. But when you play 3 games in 4 days, it has to come down to grit and determination, and that's what separates the men from the boys. And it's going to be anxious to see how the Panthers come out. I like your call on that first period because they do have the sense of urgency more so than the Islanders. The Islanders may be resting on their laurels being on their home ice. So that's an interesting insight, interesting breakdown right there, Dana. Okay, the next game, the Dallas Stars going up against Minnesota. All right, Dallas has a 2-1 lead in the series. Minnesota, they definitely withstood out a knockout punch last game when they got that home ice win. Definitely needed. Mikko Koivu, and I may have mispronounced the name, but this guy just does not show up in playoffs. Do you have any insight to this, and who holds the edge tonight in this hockey game?
You're right about that, Mike. And although, give the Wild all the credit in the world, they were down 2-0 in the last game and could have quit, and this series would have been over. Apparently, there was a pretty big pep talk by John Torchetti in the locker room between periods, and they were down 2-1 at the time, and they came out smoking after that. I'm not sure how many times you can go back to the well with these pep talks, but it certainly worked in the last game. And you're right about Koivu. I think that line, unfortunately, when you have your top scorer out in Zach Parise, it's very difficult to find consistent scoring on night in and night out basis. But from Granlund and Koivu and Palmerville, I don't think they're getting enough consistent offense to overcome a Dallas team that I think just had a bad game and maybe quit, not quit, but maybe took, hey, look, we're up 2-0. We're up big in the series. We're on our way, and maybe they kind of let the foot off the pedal a little bit. I think that was more the case than Minnesota being a better team, but Kari Lettinen's played extremely well, even better than I thought he would play. His .931 save percentage is exceptional so far in the playoffs, and I don't mind backing him again. So what we're going to do in this, I think Minnesota feels pretty good about themselves, and you're going to get them at plus money in that first period. But we're going to go Minnesota first period, but Dallas for the game at minus $1.19.
And again, there's the same type of scenario. Minnesota, the team with sense of urgency. I like talking about Minnesota with you because when you and I started doing videos, it was when Minnesota was in an absolute terrible funk. Mm-hmm. They made the coaching change to Torchetti, and boy, did he light a fire under that team's ass, and they have just really responded. So I kind of got a special place in my heart for teams like that. I love when players respond to a player's coach, and that's what Torchetti is. And, that locker room, pep talk, sometimes that does go a long way, and it does make a difference. With that being said, I also am surprised at just how well Lettinen has been playing. I thought he might slack off a bit, and what you touched on with Dallas, I sure hope that they don't get that mindset. We could kind of take it easy here because we're going home. That has haunted teams in years past, and you know this as well. So ought to be an interesting game, but Dallas probably come away with the win. Now, with that being said, the last game on the slate tonight, Dana, LA Kings taking on the San Jose Sharks. They lost 2-1 at home in overtime on Monday, the Sharks did. Basically, the Kings are lucky to have that win. What's going on with this Kings team? And is Jonathan Quick going to be between the pipes tonight? And can they turn this thing around?
Yeah, I certainly expect Quick to be in the between the nets, between the pipes tonight. He didn't get off to a great start in this series, but certainly in those last two games, it's more of the Jonathan Quick that we come to expect from him. His .943 save percentage in the last two games, plus a 1.48 goals against average is phenomenal, and those kind of numbers will carry you a long way. I do expect the Sharks to come out playing extremely well tonight. If you remember, I mean, last year they had a huge collapse, and I think that's kind of in the back of their head and saying, "Hey, look, let's not have this happen again." But the road team in this series has won every single game, and it's well documented the struggles that the Sharks have had at home. They're at home, yeah, they're 18, 21, and 3 at home, whereas on the road they're 30 and 10. So there's quite the dynamic that you would not expect from a home road dichotomy there. But the fact of the matter is, until I can see San Jose complete games on their home ice, I really have a hard time backing them financially. I don't like I think Pete DeBoer has done a fantastic job, but I just don't think that they have enough depth, or at least are not getting production from their depth. You have Spalling and Carlson and Wingles that, they're not getting any ice time. And what that tells me is DeBoer is not comfortable with his depth guys. He'd rather play his top six forwards 20 minutes a game or 18 to 20 minutes a game than get down into the depth. So what we're going to do with this game is the same thing. We're going to go San Jose first period because I think they're going to get their best effort tonight in the first period. But again, getting plus money with Los Angeles is awfully tempting. So we're going to go San Jose first period minus $1.13 and Los Angeles in the game plus $1.10.
Yeah, I was wondering, how much that collapse from last year stayed in the heads, of these players for the Sharks, because that's certainly something you want to avoid. This, to me, is one of those 10-foot pole games, just staying off of it because it just could go either way. I expected a little bit different results myself from the Kings. I'm actually a little disappointed in their toughness. I don't see that same toughness as they have had in years past. But then again, that's why they play the game. All right, viewers, you heard it, Dana Lane. And Dana, before we wrap up, could you go ahead, review your picks with our viewers one more time before we close it out?
Absolutely. Philadelphia, Washington tonight. We're going under the total of 5, but we're taking Washington in the first period, minus $1.40. Shop for that a little bit. Florida and the Islanders, it will be Florida in the first period, minus $1.05. Islanders minus $1.01 for the game. Minnesota first period plus money, plus a little bit of money, plus $1.02, and Dallas for the game at minus $1.19, and San Jose first period minus $1.13, but the Los Angeles Kings plus $1.10 for the game.
Putting it out there, and I like it, Dana. I like somebody that, that doesn't mind taking a risk now and again. And again, viewers, 5-1-2 last night, and Dana Lane has been producing through these NHL playoffs. So cash the tickets tonight with these plays. Beat your book hard. Okay, Dana, thanks so much for being back with us. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. We'll get right back at it, my friend.
Sounds great, Mike. I appreciate it, and best of luck to you.